Madam, madam. Yes,
କୋଉଥିରେ ଜଏନ୍ କିଏ ଲିଙ୍କ ପଠେଇଛି?
Biswajit.
ତାଙ୍କ ଲିଙ୍କ ଖୋଲେ। ଗୁଗଲ ମିଟ୍ ତ?
The link.
You are already in a call. Dismiss କରନ୍ତୁ ସେଟାକୁ। କଲ୍ ଫଲ୍ କିଛି ଅଛି କି ସାର୍ ଏଇଠି? କହିଦେବେ ଖାଲି ସେଟାକୁ ଆଉ କଣ?
रिपोर्ट କେମିତି କରିବି? ଷ୍ଟପ୍ ସେୟାରିଂ ବନ୍ଦ କରିଦେଲି। ହ୍ୟାଲୋ। ହ୍ୟାଲୋ ବିଶେଷ ସାର୍ ଶୁଭୁଛି? ହ୍ୟାଲୋ ହ୍ୟାଲୋ ବିଶେଷ ସାର୍।
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
ସୁପରଭାଇଜର କହିଦେବୁ ଦେଖିଲେ ମୋ କଥା ଶୁଭୁଛି ନା ନାହିଁ? ହ୍ୟାଲୋ am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello am I audible?
Yes, sir. Properly audible.
Hello am I audible? ଶୁଭୁଛି? Hello am I audible to all?
Yes, sir.
It is, sir. Hello, am I audible to all? Hello? Hello? Shall I start? Dear students, shall I start?
Yes, sir.
Subhane. ନା ମୋ କଥା ଶୁଭୁଛି ମତେ? Hello. Today we will discuss what is fundamental rights. Right. It is come under part 3 of our constitutions. Before I go in details about what fundamental right is, I would like to give you a story, very recent story. The recent story of Afghanistan. In Afghanistan, what we have seen that a group of peoples have literally swept away to a ruling government and acquire the power by use of force. Cities after cities they capture. They capture Mazar-e Sharif, they capture Kabul, they capture Kandahar. Likewise, they acquire whole gamut of it. Now, the power lies in the hand of the people, which is absolute one. Absolute one means all the executive powers lies in the hands of the rulers. All the judiciary powers also lies in the hands of the rulers. All the legislative powers also lies in the hands of the rulers. So they need not to be answerable to any forum or any procedure is there to, to whom they will be accountable. So likewise, this may be a new phenomenon for us, but in older days, this is a normal procedure that a king used to acquire another territories and become its ruler, or may have its own territory and rule over it. Usually, you might have heard that king is the representative of the god. That means we know God is omnipresent, omniscient, all powerful. So king rules on earth on behalf of the god. Means they are somewhere equal to God. That's why they do have all the powers and they rule accordingly. And whatever rights, or you can say liberties, rather than rights, I would like to say it's liberties. Whatever privileges they used to give is completely upon the discretion of the king. So similarly, centuries after centuries, when the kingship was the normal way of life, these things do happens. But you know that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So when you have the absolute power, or the king have the absolute power, every probable is there that he may be arbitrary. Or if he do some injustice, he is only answerable to the Almighty or the God, not to the people to whom he governs. So usually we expect that king should be a benevolent despot. He will be despot, all powerful. But if he is a benevolent despot, then the right and liberties of the citizens is well protected. And if not, then the situation of chaos and anarchy will prevail throughout the state. This situation do have direct links to understand why rights are so important to us. Then we can know that how fundamental rights are required and should not be suspended in any circumstances. That's why I'm giving this story. As the world is crying for the citizens of Afghanistan, within a span of 2 to 3 days, the whole power shifted to a body or a person or a forum who is absolute one. There are not going to be any elections, or they don't have any parliament to whom they will be answerable. So simply all the rights and liberties or privileges are in the hands of that person or of that group. So now one feel that the other peoples of the other countries feel privileged that they are not in Afghanistan. Why? Told by a procedure or a system. A system is running. We are a part of the systems, but that system is a system of anarchy, a system of arbitrary rule, blanket arbitrary rules. That's why the rights are important, or a formal body for governance is very important. So now the people of Afghanistan is trying for that. So whatever in consequence of that, in subsequent times, there may be agitation. In recent days, I have heard that few women are come in the protest of Taliban. You see, when the omnipresence give its force, a section will come forward to protest that all-powerful personality. So similarly, what happened in 13th century? So all throughout the world, the same things happens. When the King John of England, who was the ruler, at that times, because he was defeated by the France, have gave a heavy tax on the citizens. The citizens become frustrated and they start revolting. And that revolt come to a stage that it become impossible on the power of the ruler to rule over his own state. Because if all the people will not obey the law and order, so definitely situation will be inconvenient for the person to rule over it. Whatever force he may imply, if people start defying, it is not. When king felt that it is not possible to rule over his own subjects, to the citizens of that of the people of England. So that treaty or that uh, you can say the MOU or you can say the treaty or the agreement is known as Magna Carta. That is the in the world history the first rights or in a written form in a formal way it came to us. Before that it was not there. So Magna Carta is the basis of our fundamental rights. But it is not absolute. It is again do have some limitations. But anyhow, a set of rules has been framed that certain privileges will be granted to the peoples. And the same gradually applies to across the globe. And people start knowing that any state should give certain rights to its citizens so that they can be better equipped or they can live happily. And that treaty was signed on 15th June, and that treaty was the base of our fundamental rights. Right? Next slide, please, sir. Now we have the democracy, we have a government, and we have rule of law is there in our place. The very first article of our fundamental rights is Article 12, which gives us a definition of the state. We all know that state should mean the statement India. No. So there is a proper definitions. It says that the state includes the government, Parliament of India, government and legislature of each states, and all local and other authorities. That means the central government is now headed by Narendra Modi. So he is the state. The Parliament of India is also a state. Our all state legislatures, Odisha Assembly, Bihar Assembly, all states legislatures are also come under the state. And all local bodies like municipal authorities, you can say election commissions, even IAS officers, the collectors, they are also state. That means they come under people to whom the citizen can approach for their rights. If some right is violated or some right is exaggerated or something happens, so they will approach the state. That is who is the state. That the first definition of the article has given that these are the bodies. These bodies are the state. That means we can detailed explanation given that our own government, the Parliament India, and all the legislatures and the local authorities are the come under the preview of the state. Right? Next slide, please. Sir, next slide. Next slide defines what is law. You see, the first two slides has not given any details about what are the rights, what are the fundamental rights would be. It first Article 12 has given us the right What do you mean by state? The second is giving what is law. You can see when India got independence, before the independence date, we do have ruled by certain laws, right or wrong? So when India got independence, our constitution of India has been framed. So they made certain laws to govern. So what the laws is said that the laws inconsistent with or in derogation of fundamental rights. That means whatever laws that prevails earlier will be applicable still now, provided if it is not inconsistent with. Inconsistent means if should not contradict to the present law. If it is contradict or derogating to the present laws, then it is not applicable. And if it is comply to the rule of law that we have framed from in the constitutions, can be regarded as the law. The very meaning is very as simple as that. That means all the laws prevailing before the Indian constitution framed will also be applicable so long as it is not contradicting to the law. And all the contradiction if comes can be resolved through the constitutions or through all the articles of the constitutions. In details has been given the law in force in the state of India immediately before the commencement of the constitution so far as are inconsistent with the provision of this part shall be extended to such inconsistency. These same things. The state shall not make any law which takes the abridge of the right comfort of the part and make in contravention to this clause shall extend to the contravention be void. That means that state also cannot make any law which will contravene or which will against the rights conferred on the part 3 of the constitutions. That means this gives that fundamental right are absolute in nature. So it is absolute nature means even the state cannot make any law which is go against the fundamental rights. So next slide, please. Again, what he said that this article says that in the context, law include any ordinance, order, bylaw, rule, regulation, notification, custom, uses having in the territory of India the force of law. That means what is law? A law is an ordinance. When ordinance pass, this become a law. If it's order passed by the parliament, it's become law. All the bylaws are come under preview of law. Rules, regulation, government notifications are also come under preview of the law. This is the definition of law given by the constitutions. And custom and uses, as I have said that the custom that is carry on over a period of time is also a part of the law if it is so long as it is not contravened to the present constitution of India, then it is also part of the law. Only to the territory of India. Then it says that law in force. That means the law that is still applying before and after commencement of the constitutions, or that is we are still obeying that law and it is not abridged, it is not taken away. So all the laws that is bound to obey that law, right? Then it says that, but however, it also gives that the Constitution of India may amend to the people. That means again a flexibility as given by the constitutions. Only in exceptional case, if country may feels or the India may feels that it is required. That's why it can be amended. One example I can give that recently triple talaq, which is again a fundamental part of the fundamental rights of the constitution, has been amended. That means because for greater humanity or for greater interest of the rights, protect the rights of the women folk in Muslim community, government has give him that right. That what I want to say, that a right, or a right that was contravened to the Constitution of India. Because when we give the right to triple talaq, it gives, we have taken away right of the woman folk of a community. That means somebody's right become a problem for the others' right. But right should be equal to man and woman. It can be differentiated. Law cannot make a differentiate because it is blind. So men are at upper hand. That gives an upper hand. By just simply triple talaq, he can get a divorce, can easily scot free and divorced. So that is again a contravention of the fundamental rights of women. That's why the government of India feel that it is against the rights, fundamental rights of the women folk. That's why it has been taken by the amendment. That's why the amendment provision is that if any law that will come in before the fundamental rights, government may amend it. Next slide, sir. Now the first article of our fundamental rights come in form of a right to equality. The Article 14 says that equality before law, states shall not deny to any person equality before law or the equal protection of law within the territories of India. Here you can say two sentences. The state shall not deny, it's a negative one, to any person equality before law. This comes from British. We have taken this from British. But the second part, equal protection of law within the territory of India, is come from United States of America. So what is the difference between the two? Oh, it seems as identical, both are seems identical. But the first says that everybody, every citizen of India is equal before law. Means law is blind. Might have seen that a girl times this law does not know anybody. So if rich or poor or underprivileged, marry everybody. But when you say equal protection, that means why we give to protection? Equal protection again that indicate that if it is equal to before law, then why is it equal protection? The slight difference is that they all are not equal. They do have a stages. You can say that minorities, all the minorities are equal. And all the scheduled class, scheduled tribes are equal. But they do have a difference of all the upper caste Hindus or upper caste Muslims or any other religions. Why? At the time of independence, India do have a lot of inequalities. You can see inequalities in class, inequalities in religion, minorities there, some are denied, and some people are privileged. So these things do happen. That's a government, the constitution mechanism constitution feel that we should give a protection. Protection if any society, the state will intervene it. State will intervene to protect the rights. That's why equal protection of law within state as again a part of the Indian constitutions. So next slide, please. Article 14 says that equality before law. The states shall not deny any person. 15. Now we have a prohibition description. Prohibition description on the grounds of race, caste, sex, and place of birth. States shall not discriminate against any citizen on the grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any of them. That means, as I just am mentioning that, we do have a lot of diversities. India is a place of unity and diversity, we are used to say. Lot of diversity is there. We are diversified in terms of religions because we are a secular state. Lot of religions are there, lot of races are there, and caste in Indian society, even in a particular religion, we do have a lot of castes. Some are upper caste, some are lower caste, and the sex means man and woman difference with the man and woman, as we know that we are basically male dominated society, so definitely women have the lesser right in the times, and it is still, though constitution has given equal right to man and woman, still in our practical implementation we see that equal treatment is not possible or feasible because of our mentality. But if we can do the differentiate, but the Constitution of India cannot make the differences. So that's why the Constitution said that the state will not discriminate. If any discrimination come on these grounds, that state will come forward to protect them. That means if somebody says that in religious grounds somebody got discriminated, but due to caste or peace, if somebody they are not allowed to the education places, they are not allowed to certain places. So if now these things, if that things do happen, the state will come forward to protect them. Similarly, the state dominate others. Though everybody has its own religion to profess and propagate, then state, as we are so secular state don't have any role to play. But that is not again absolute. Any religions cannot do anything that will hamper to other religions. If it comes to hamper other religion, state will come and it will not allow any discrimination on the grounds of this. Next slide, please. Again, subject to disability, liability, restriction, condition, you have to assess. In public shops, restaurant, hotels, places of public entertainment, that means everybody is free to go to any shop, any public restaurants, any roads, any hotels, any place of public entertainment. That means on this ground of a religion, race, caste, and sex or place of birth, nobody will deny. We cannot deny people of Andaman and Nicobar to visit any restaurant or in shops in Delhi. Everybody is free to do. Yes. But if the tribes of Andaman Nicobars who are still in observable conditions, state has given special power. In that case, because of their vulnerability, state have made some laws. But in general, there is no discrimination allowed to whatsoever. That means public place, any bathing ghats, roads, places, because why they have mentioned that in that time bathing ghats, roads, public places or resort was usually denied by the upper caste people, and they made a restriction. That's why state come forward, and this is again a part of the right to equality, right? So next slide, please. Nothing in this article prevent making any special provision for women and children. See, as we are male-dominated country, so in earlier days, women and children are vulnerable because men are superior. They are the earning persons. So the men usually dictate to women that you can do so things that you are may not allowed to do so things. Children are also restricted. That's why to arrest all these things, to make the equality before law to all citizens, means children, women, men, or whoever birth in India are a citizen of India. So to make the equality all, the state has made do the special provisions to make them equal. Means the standards of women and children should elevate. That's why state can make any laws. That's why again it says that any proposed socially economically backward citizen can make laws to any socially economically backward citizens. All these reservations is come under this category. You can say that all these reservations. Because why government to give this reservation? Because government of India feel that certain section of the society is lagged behind to elevate their positions, to elevate their disadvantage, being born in in a society which is less disadvantaged, or they are not educated enough to come forward. So that's why to make them elevate their positions, state is making the reservations. So sometimes you have to say that why reservation? Because reservation again, you can say a form of discrimination. So whoever get reservation, they are happy. But person whose reservation was losing by the reservation, we feel reserved about the reservation that if it is contrary to Indian Constitution. No, because they are less advantageous. They do have less. But again, it will not. The reservation will not continue throughout our history. Say in 20 years, 30 years, if when government of India will feel that now we do not have any minorities or any educationally backward classes are there, now their position of elevated or they made their mark in our society. As we have seen that lot of socially backward classes are already having their own limelight and they come at par with the upper caste or upper privileged classes. So gradually, if government wants government to feel that now reservation is not required, that elevation is not required, it is required for the disadvantage. But when the government feel that it is not required, then government may repel the you can say the reservations. Next slide, please. Now, equality opportunity matters of public employment. That we have seen that we are free to take any employment, and there will be equal opportunity. There is no discrimination. Will be any ground. Any we can because of a particular religion or any community we can discriminate. We can took any professions. Again, there is a limitations. Limitation in the sense that if you can say that I will sell drugs, so government will not allow because selling of drugs is not allowed because it is contrary to the basic human rights of the people because it will generate crimes. You can say that I will be a gangster, so that is not employment. You can get yourself employed for a gangster. That means which will become in the threat of the government or come under the threat of integrity of our nations, it cannot be allowed. But except that, every citizen of India is allowed to take any profession of his choice. This is what it says. That will be equal opportunity. No citizen shall on grounds of race, class, sex, decent place of birth, discriminatory. Same thing, what I have discussed. Next slide, please. Abolition of untouchability. It may not be feel relevance in today's scenario, but at the time of independence, untouchability is a big problem because whoever comes from scheduled class, scheduled tribes, upper class people do not allow to their house, they are not allowed to the public commonwealths, they are not allowed to temples. So it is a very, they feel very humiliated. And if the schools, the scheduled caste peoples are usually sits at a distance, they are not allowed to drink water in common water place of drinking. They are not allowed. So this was again a crime against humanity, and the society at that time society was that. That's why the constitution maker of the constitution feel that untouchability should be abolished. And Article 17 gives us the right to untouchability. That untouchability is abolished, and its practice in any form is forbidden. Now, so the untouchability is no more there, and equal treatment for everyone before the law. That means this gives us equal treatment to everyone. Next article, please. Abolition of titles. You might have heard that during Britishers, they used to give titles. titles like Sar, Rai Chaudhary, Rai Bahadur. These are the titles whoever pleases the British government, British peoples, sometimes they give them their titles. Now government of India feel that these are simply a gimmick. That means simply people feel that they have elevated to Rai Bahadur or Rai Chaudhary or the Sar titles, they become upper hand. So these bogus titles has been abolished. However, in defense, we have seen that brigadiers titles are might be given. We can give the titles like in if some Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, when sports of extraordinary activities, the government may give. But in general, nobody can give a titles except military academic teacher. Like you can say the doctorate. If somebody get doctorate, again it is a title. You can say that doctorate has been added. You can do a doctorate. That is again a title has been given by the government, except academic distinction and military achievement. Even you can say that BA become BSc or BTech, whatever you are doing, it is a title has been given that you have got the title or required the title. But it is acquired by a process, by a hard work. Nobody can get a doctorate simply by the state. But a person who studied his graduation, his post graduation, then is make a doctorate and make a rigorous study about a particular subject, then he failed the interview, then he got a doctorate. That means this title is acquired after a procedure and after a long strenuous work, they usually get the title. Otherwise, if general title like anybody can give to anybody without having any merit of it is abolished. But we can't give any titles. Right? Next slide, please. No person who is not a citizen of India shall, while hold the office of the profit of trust to the state, except otherwise concerned president. Nobody can hold the office of trust. Now I'll give an example of president and government. Governor. We know that presidents and governors have the power to pardon. That means law is not binding upon them. Because of the president and the governor, they are the constitutional head of the state. So special privilege has been given by the constitutions. So question arises, if governor will do a murder or some certain crimes or president do certain crimes, then who will be made accountable? There is a probability that they can do so. But the maker of the constitution is very cunning. Though they give power of pardon to the president and governors, but say that so long as you are remain in that office, the power will be applicable to you. The moment you lose the presidency or lose your governor, then the law of India again will be binding upon you. You cannot exercise your power to give or absolute power to make it a monopoly. So the restrictions happens, and they cannot hold any because of the nature of the duty. They will not acquire any office of the profit or trust because they are the constitutional head of the state. So they are not allowed to have any official profit. Right? Next. Right to freedom. We know that everybody loves freedom. But initially, I give the example of Taliban, Afghanistan. So we know the importance of freedom. Everybody usually, whenever a fundamentalist comes, we usually think of freedom. That means we have a freedom of speech, that is freedom of speech and expression, to assemble peacefully without arms. That means we can assemble anywhere, but we should be without arms, to form associations or cooperative societies, to move freely throughout the territory of India, or to reside or settle any parts of India. To reside and settle, not purchasing a land. That means right to property is not there. That means you can rent a house and reside any or settle any part of India. You can throughout the state of India, wherever you can reside and settle, not an issue. Or practice any profession or any occupation, trade or business. You are free to practice any professions. So these are the common things we know. What is further fundamental right of speech is there. This is the fundamental because these are the things that is required to make our own beings in a higher level. But again, these do have its limitation. That means we do have freedom of speech and expression, but so long as it will not affect everybody. If I have a freedom of registration, that doesn't mean I will scold government of India in China. Or if I do have a speech expression and I am a military person, I cannot disclose any secret that will be hamper to our country. This I have a right to freedom of speech. That means I will not scold anybody which will against the modesty of any woman. Because I do have a right to speech. It is again not absolute. So long as contravened to the others, we do have right. But it should not be apprehend the sovereignty and integrity of India. That means without affecting the sovereign integrity of India, rest anything I can say, it is applicable. That's why government, if government feels that some speech or expressions or some speech are a threat to the government of India or integrity of India, government may take action. That is the limitation we have. But except that, we are free. We do have free to do whatever we want. To assemble freely and without arms. That means we can go to any meetings, any public place, we can arrange any meetings or we can go any meetings. But we should go peacefully and without arms. Because if we do have arms and some iteration is made or some quarrel has been an event, and if we do harms, so loss of life is probability loss of life will be there. That's why it is not allowed. And we can form associations and unions. As you have seen, we can make political parties, we can make our own unions, we can make our own society, not only cooperative, any society, any association that we can make, but it should be, all the rule of should not be in contravention against the integrity of India. That means we can make association which will act against India. If we do so, government do have power to intervene. That means security of the state is paramount. If security of this, if we are not hampering security state, we can do anything. And decency and morality. Another point is that the freedom of speech does not allow us to make contravene against the decency of other people. That means we cannot make any gesture that is incompatible to the modesty. That means we can't give any gestures, or we cannot give any gesture. Somebody, I will kill you, or body language say that I will do some make a fear psychology. Our body language should not make such fear psychology. And if they do so, it is not allowed. Again, we can't say anything about the rules or about the judgment of the Constitution of India. That if we do, then it will be come under the contempt of law or contempt of court. That means Supreme Court of India is the custodian of Indian constitutions. That means whenever any rights violated, they used to come forward. The right to remedies, will come that point. But that's why just you know that any judgment, we can't do anything with or any judgment that is given by the the Supreme Court of India or High Court of India, we cannot do any adverse comment on that, and we cannot defame anybody simply to take advantage without knowing the truth. Sometimes we will defame a person. That means if without knowing, if I say that he is the theft, he is the theft, he is the theft, that means that liberty of that theft, or who is not a theft, but as you have defamed him, he may come under the ambit of law. So that's why the defamation of other person is again the limitation that we can't defame anybody. So far as our right to freedom is concerned. Again, I have already discussed the right to profession, practice any occupation we can do, any business, but so long as that business is not contravening to the sovereignty and integrity of India. Right? Next slide, please. Next slide says, no person shall be convicted of any offense except for violation of law and force at the time of commission of the act. That means it says that whenever a person gets convicted for a particular crime, and it should be compatible to the law and force, or if any particular law has been violated, that means the same law will be applicable to them. That means again it says that a person cannot be the same if committed for this repeated punishment will not be there. If a same crime has been committed by a person and the same offense is repeated, only the once the same punishment will not be repeated. That means if a person is get for one murder is one, if he get a lifetime punishment, if he make 2 or 4 or whatever, the same amount of punishment will be given. But no person accused of any offense shall be compelled to witness against himself. Means if anybody is made a crimes, the government or the police official cannot force him to admit his offense. He can draw the conclusion by implying methods, but he can force him to accept his or give a statement which will go against himself. So that means a person can defame himself, and if he has even if he has committed a crime, the government of India or the Constitution of India give him a right that he will not be compelled to give witness against himself. That means if he knows that he for his liberty or for his own safety, he can defend himself. Right. Next slide, please. Now, protection of life and personal liberty. No person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to the procedure by law. That means a life can be taken only by due procedural laws. If somebody has made heinous crimes, and a trial has been done in lower court, then high court and Supreme Court, then he have the power of appeal to the President of India. If everybody give the consent that his life should be taken because of his heinousness of the crime, then only a life can be taken, otherwise not. That means everybody has the right to life. This is the basic fundamental right. Without life, what will do? In Afghanistan, now the right to life is on the mercy of the rulers. But in India, we have a procedure and nobody can take my life unless I made such a crimes that will force the government to take my life for the greatest interest of the rest of the citizens. Then the right to education. The state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children at the age of 6 to 14. That's why government schools are, all the government schools have given educations and it is free to all. That's why a lot of provision has been made so the student can enroll in the government schools, uh, and still it is 14. They, apart from the free education, now they are giving free foods, speed sports equipments, free cycles. Government also giving other assistance apart from the educations. This is now applicable to all. Again, protection against the arrest and detentions in certain cases. No person who is arrested, detained in custody without being informed. That means if a person get arrested, so he is free to consult any advocate or legal practitioner who will defend on him. And without intimating or without giving any reason, nobody will get arrested. Whenever a person get, the police officer, you can ask police officer, what are the reason behind my arrest? He will give the explanation, and after knowing that you are being arrest for this particular reason, you may get arrest, but at the same times you are free to defend yourself by appointing a legal practitioners or an advocate of your choice. Nobody will force you. Every person who is arrested and detained in custody shall be produced before nearest magistrate within a period of 24 hours of such arrest, including the time necessary for the journey of the place. That means a person, if a person get arrested, the police cannot keep him in his custody in an indefinite period. In the 24 hours, he has to produce before the magistrate, and if magistrate do give the bail to him, he will be scot-free. If not, again as per the procedure of law, the police or official can take him custody. And it is applicable both citizen of India and also citizen of foreign country or any other citizens. Applicable to both. Next, sir. Right against exploitation. So why we feel that exploitation right is required? See, the right against exploitation seek to protect citizen from being forced work. What do you mean by forced work? In earlier days, people usually appoint beggars. That means they force certain people to beg and they take away the whole money. Usually, in our earlier days, these things do happens. In our some movies also, you might have seen that these things, that a leaders or a touters or a gangster usually collecting money from the beggars streets, from the streets, shops. That means they're forcing. So this is a protection that nobody can force you to do any forced labor. That means without getting paid. Because whenever if somebody is employing, we are working in a similar company, means we are getting earning some things. That means specific salary is there. That due to I will give this much labor, and in return I will give this much. So there is a clear cut written document is there. But in case of beggars, it's not there. You know that human trafficking is a big problem. Still, it's not a big problem. That women are forced to prostitutions. And we say that it's a trade. Yes, you can compel any woman or force any woman to prostitutions, or any human, or you can say the forced labor, you can say that bonded labor, you can say. Earlier, men are used to become the bonded labor. Somebody forcefully purchased any man to make him bonded labor. Means once he purchased, throughout his life, he will become a labor of him. And whatever he will say, no salary, nothing is there. Only food, whatever he wants to give, he may give. There is no compulsion on him. And he will, throughout his life, he will work as a bonded labor. So these things were prevalent before independence in our society, almost all the society. It's a normal phenomenon. But now, as we are the rule equal before all, so nobody can force you to make a profession which is contravene to the basic human rights, because the prostitution is a violation of human rights, right? So we can't do anything in that fashion. And you know that some factories, child laborers are there. In our say you can say then tea shops or in any garage, we have seen the child laborers. So these things are been banned. Buying and selling men's, buying and selling children's, and human trafficking, all things are banned. These are the heinous things. These are the crime against humanity. So this is the biggest protection them. That state has given guarantee that nobody will force you to do any kind of job without being paid. So this is what that article, all this is something all about article question. Now the article 20 says that the prohibition of traffic a human being forced labor is banned. Nothing open discussion that I have already discussed. Next slide, sir. The article 14 also I have discussed that prohibition of employment in the factories. Nobody shall below 14 years shall be employed to work in a factory and get any hazardous work, because it will hamper them. Now we come to right to freedom. Why right to freedom is again given the fundamental right? Why it is given? This is fundamental to live. Why it is fundamental to live? To live an open, tolerant, and diverse society. Because if you want to have an open society, that means everybody is free to take any religion of his choice or any faith of his choice, and this freedom is required. And one thing, the right to freedom will say that state will not have religion. I'll let to give an example. If you see India, neighboring countries, we have seen Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, you can see the state has its own religion, Islam. You can see the Nepal, Bhutan, the neighboring state. Earlier, Nepal has Hinduism. Now they become a secular state. That means state do have religions. As we are so diverse, the makers of our constitution feel that state will not intervene so far as the religion is concerned. State will not promote a particular religion. Of course, if people are free to take any profession, any religious of its choice, then state has no role to play so far as religious belief is concerned, right? The same thing said that, but again, these do have limitation. The freedom of conscience and free profession, practice propagate religions. That means we can took any religion, we can practice religion, and we can do have liberty to propagate also. We can propagate our religions. So far, but subject to public order, morality, and health. You can see that in masjid or in mandir, it's a place of worship. We know that they are the place of worship. People come here and worship God, and go to home. At the same times, we have seen that a lot of educational institutions are running by the religious communities. We have seen that, say, restaurant in ISKCONs, you might have seen restaurant in ISKCONs, but restaurant is not common to religions, because for the restaurant, the business, we do have other rules to apply. And also they are selling books. In ISKCONs also they do selling books. They also make trips to travels to pilgrim places. All these segments are different from the religions. But if you combine, but to propagate the religions, they are doing all these things. That means if state can intervene when if health hazard has been done or made or apprehension has been there, that by taking prasad, by taking food from any religious, if it is hampering to the health, state can intervene. If any public order, say suppose now Rath Yatra has been banned, so you can say that I have right to fundamental right. I can travel throughout India without problems. So why should I can't? Why government can ban me to attend Rath Yatra? No, it is for to maintaining public order. Government can intervene, can give you ban. Government can do this. That's why given in pandemic, we all this you can say that in the pandemic, all my freedom of right to speech, right to movement has been suspended. Yes, it is suspended because of the nature for the protect us, to protect our livelihood, to protect our life. Government may make laws, except otherwise we are free to move throughout part of India. Gradually also we are doing so. Now, again it is said that to regulating any economic, financial, political, civil activity may ascertain nothing else to operation any existing law. State can make any law, suppose economically, financially, politically, any section or minorities, you can say minorities are usually vulnerable. So because of economic minorities, if something they cannot do, the government can make law to protect them, and to make them come to the mainstreams. Okay. Next slide, please. Article 26 is freedom to manage religious affairs. Everybody in India is free to manage their own states. To do have no rules to play. We can make charitable institution. We can make whatever format we want. We can make our own religions and make propagation not an issue. We establish manifestation charitable purpose and charitable things. But we can own any institution can own any property of its choice, and it can also manage that property, not an issue, so long as it is contaminated, not contaminated with religions. Next slide. Article 27. Here it says that while propagating any religion, nobody will compel to pay any fees. Suppose in usually during Durga Puja or Saraswati Puja, usually people come for donations. It is up to you whether you want to give or not. But nobody can compel you. That is what it says that. Nobody can compel in any form to pay any tax. You are free to, because it is donation. It is up to you. Okay. But they can appeal to the people that you give some money so that in form of donation, just so that we can carry forward our religious activities. But they can compel you. That is what Article 27 says. Next one. It also says that no religious institution shall be provided any education institution wholly by the state. That means there are no state-run institutions. Can give any religious instruction to the people. That means the state will not intervene in the religious matter. No instruction provided. Religious institutions only maintained by the state. The state shall apply education in some state. That means we have that state that four categories of states are there. Some education institutions are wholly funded by the government. Some are private organizations. Some are private organizations recognized by the government. And a private organizations may give some religious instructions, not an issue. But in the state government institutions or education institutions, they are free from it. No institution can be given. But private institutions may register to give religious instructions, but it should not be again hampered to other activities or making, so long as it does not make it problematic to others. They can do this. No issue. Next slide, sir. No person is engaged in a state providing aid or the same whatever I have said, the same thing it is explaining. You can go through it, not an issue. Cultural and educational rights. See, what is culture? Because we take note that we are a very ancient culture, and we have our distinct language, distinct script, distinct culture. We are identified. Our wearing habits are different. Our food habits are different. So we are identified by our culture. In Orissa, we have one distinct culture. In Andhra Pradesh, they do have culture. In Kerala, they do have a distinct culture. In West Bengal, they have their own cultures. They seem to be fighting for Rasgulla, whether it is belongs to India or Orissa or Bengal. The fights will go on. It is part of the culture. That means we are fighting for culture. That's why government, the constitution, make the constitutional rights as a part of the constitution to protect or the suit by to save the culture, to save our script. You know it, the writing, but writing is the script, save our language, real language, Burmese language, Samarbul language. So to save our language also, that is required. And all minorities, religious linguistics can preserve and develop their own culture. Understand? That means the tribal, they do have a distinct culture, they in every society do have its own culture script that is again protected by the state. It's a fundamental nature. So Article says any section of the citizen residing to India, part of that, having a distinct language, script, culture of its own, shall have right to conserve this sense. You have right. And nobody is denied, and state will be guardian. And nobody can deny on the basis of religion, race, caste, language. State, you have right to do this. Okay, next slide, please. It's the same descriptions. All minorities, whether based on religion, language, shall have the right to establish the administrative education institution. The same thing that I explained, that our culture, distinct culture, this is the diversity, and that is protected by the states. That is what culture is. Next slide, please. The states are not granting aid to educational institutions, discriminate any educationals by the particular environment, constitutional ground of management minority. That means for management of minorities or for management which is based on language for any particular language or race caste, state will not discriminate. That means no educational institutions, educational institutions do have rights to propagate a particular language. Sometimes we see that Hindi is promulgated, Oriya is propagated. Government of Orissa say that all these signboards should be written in Oriya or any other languages to protect that, also protected to the country. This is part of the rights. Okay. Another article. So next slide, please. So next slide, please. Hello. Sir. Now you know that right to property. Earlier, right to property was a part of fundamental rights. What right to property 31 was to say that no person shall be deprived of his property save by the authority of law. That means no person shall be deprived right of property. Now, earlier this was a property right, but the makers felt that this become problematic. Public roads or for the public for better big projects they get happen. Airports. So if right to property will be a fundamental right. So if people will not leave their house, that airport cannot be constructed, and it will be against the interest of the lands, because interest of airport for the economic trading can be done. So public road, national highway is going. If anybody's property come on the way of national highway, he will not give his land. So because of this, for the greatest interest of the human beings, right to property has been removed, amended from the Constitution of India by the 44th Amendment of the Constitution. So it is no more right. Next. Then what it said that the acquisition of state of any state means property, or any right therein, or exchange means modification of such rights. The taking over the management of the property by the state for limited period, or for the public interest, or secure proper management. Suppose a bomb has been exploded, or you can say that recently when a petrol pump in near Governor House has been exploded. The government has make it cordon that particular area. He can make cordon along with that petrol pump. The nearby properties or estate can be restricted for the citizen to move because something's wrong or something life-threatening things is going to may happen there. For the protection of the life, the state may protect or prevent to enter that property. Okay, this is what used to say that Article 31A. Next slide, sir. It is again the same extension that whoever the stakeholders of that property, or whoever have any mutual agreement to become the property by owning the property, termination agreement, that means now the government of India has the power to do whatever beneficial of the general you can do to the supervised properties done. Okay, except that you have all the cultural rights. Next slide, please. The last part is most vital, that is right to constitutional remedies. See, we have gone through all the rights. It gives us a power. If it is violated, it is protected by the state. What is the state? That is, we have divided in the first Article 12, the Government of India, state legislatures, central legislatures, or any local authorities as the state. We can approach them for the enforcement. If state will not get satisfied with the state, to whom we will go? If Government of India become problem to protect the right of the fundamental right of the citizens, where we will go? It is the judiciary. That means our real power lies in the hands of judiciary. The government again is not absolute, because with the power, government may be arbitrary. So it is the judiciary to High Court or Supreme Court, whom we can approach to protect us. Right? Again, Article 31 says the right to move Supreme Court by appropriate proceeding for enforcement of right confirmed by if any fundamental rights has been violated or be taken away arbitrarily, we can move to Supreme Court of India for its enforcement. That means Supreme Court has power. They have been authorized to protect our rights. So we can go to High Court. Even High Court also we can go, and we can go to the Supreme Court of India to protect our rights. Okay. That means remedies. In what way Supreme Court has the power? They do have certain rights. In the rights, we will go in details about this. Now, I think it's already high time or exceeding the time. So all I can say that it is again protected by the Supreme Court of India. Even Government of India cannot take away your rights. So it is the Supreme Court. He will force the government, or he will give you rights. The Supreme Court of India is all powerful, and without this power, if somebody is taken the rights are there. Who is guaranteeing our rights? It's the Supreme Court of India that is giving us the guarantee. Isn't it? I have given you certain liberty. जैसे हम बोलते हैं, if I say that if you purchase an article, say mobile I have purchased, then I have a guarantee that within a 1 year, if it is damaged or any, it will be get replaced. If somebody will not take accountable, if problem arises or not functioning properly, I will go to a place, will take accountable if it not it. So similarly, our fundamental rights is guaranteed by the Supreme Court. That means the Supreme Court has taken guarantee on behalf of us that if any value protected right, so this is the role of Supreme Court. So this role of Supreme Court is paramount. So far as right is concerned, if we will not have a guarantee by somebody or some force, the of right will be meaningless. Even if it may be fundamental natures. That means we are fortunate that that's why the maker of Constitution made guarantee of our fundamental rights in form of Supreme Court of India or the High Court of India. That's why we can feel that the fundamental rights are well protected, right? So any questions? Hello? Actually, your voices are not audible to me because I could not hear anything. So I've taken my class of my own, or I tried to explain the best way I can possible I can make. I hope that you have a broad idea on what is fundamental rights is all about. And in the next and other parts of the Constitution. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.